Hello my friends, let me show you the amazing Mathcounts Made Easy app. When I say it's amazing, please look here what it can cover. Algebra, arithmetic, modular arithmetic, which has become a pretty prominent topic on Mathcounts problems, prime integers and integer solutions, counting, combinatorics, functions, polynomials, quadratic functions, complex numbers, exponents, logarithms, sequences, series, and sigma notation, also points, lines, trigonometry, geometry, statistics, and probability. So this is a massive app. I would like to first point out that you do need a CAS calculator. So the Ti-NspireApps is not alone is not enough. You need a CAS Ti-Nspire. Let me show you some examples first, and then afterwards I'll show you how to solve specific Mathcounts problems using this app. Okay, so let's convert an integer. That's a typical question, right? Convert from one base to another. Say you have the number 11 in base 7. That actually is 8 in base 10, and 8 in base 10 is 1000 in base 2. So let's add one more. 12 in base 7 is actually 9 in base 10. I don't tell you why right now, but it is. And that is actually 1001 in base 2. So you can convert from one base to a number system easily. Solving equations will happen also when we do Mathcounts problem. You can do solve a 2 by 2 and even n by n system. So here I have a pre-typed system of a 3 by 3 system. It doesn't have to be linear. It can be, you know, anything exponential, square root, and we have our solutions right below. So as you change a value, you will get immediately your solution below without having to press enter or anything. Okay, so that was an n by n system, and you can also force to only show positive solutions because that often occurs on Mathcounts problems. Let's move on. Modular arithmetic is a big field. It deals with remainders when integers are being divided. So for example, if you want to compute 3 squared, which is 9, but division by 5 will leave a remainder of 4. Okay, and that's not only for 2, but you can do bigger exponents quickly. 3 to the 14 is a big number, but leaves a remainder of 4 when divided by 5. So it's a really good tool. Okay, so it doesn't only solve problems, but it also helps in the arithmetic that you are performing when you do Mathcounts problems. Well, let's solve a mod problem, ax equals b, so you get a glimpse of what it can do. Say you are solving 3x is equal to do mod 5. You would have to multiply by the inverse of 3, which is 2 mod 5 on both sides, and that will cancel out the 3, and on the right side you're going to get 2 by 2, which is 4. So 4 is your answer to this equation. So you would get, when you plug in 4, you're going to get 12 is 2 mod 5, and that's correct. So it can do a whole lot of stuff, primitive roots. It can solve quadratic equations, mod m, and there's a whole lot that you can even learn using this app. Primes, integers, so you can of course find the prime factorization of an integer. You can list primes, you can count primes, you can check if a number is a prime number, and so forth and so forth. So it's very powerful and very useful. Counting, right, the standard, if you want to know what 3 factorial is, even 7 factorial, shows you step by step, you know, how to find n factorial. Quickly you get answers, and that's also very useful. NPR, NCR, truth tables, you name it. I would need an hour to show you every single aspect of this app. That's why I said it's pretty massive. Well, here when it comes to functions, all-in-one Explorer is really helpful. Say you're given a function and you quickly want to know, well, what does it factored look like? What are the x-intercepts, y-intercepts, inverse function? If it has asymptotes, what's the symmetry of that function? What are the mins and maxes? Everything can be quickly accessed here in the Function Explorer. Quadratic equation is of course always fun because you can solve it and you can do it here step by step. Just type in your quadratic equation and you will see after extracting the coefficients of your equation what the solution is. Okay, in this case we have a complex solution and that's just fine. And in addition to solving a quadratic equation, you can also complete the square. You can do the math of one or two complex numbers as well. Exponent and logarithms, you can solve any exponential problem here. What you should also know is that you can actually read rules, which is very helpful, right? So it doesn't slip your mind. You can quickly access exponential rules and remind you here. Some examples are done here as well, so you can see how to put these rules into action. Let's move on. Sequences in series. Sigma notation. You can quickly sum the numbers of any sequence, let's say square numbers here, right? You go from 1 to 2, but you can also just quickly say, okay, what is the sum of the first 100 square numbers? And there you have it. Or if you don't want to do square numbers, but let's say cube numbers, or you make your own formula like this, right? You can quickly find the sum of any sequence of numbers right here using sigma notation. Points and lines, you can solve problems that deal with parallel lines, perpendicular lines. If you're given a slope, if you're given, find the slope given 2 points. Say you're given 2 points like this one here, 1, 2, and 3, 5. You can quickly find the midpoint, the distance, the slope, the point slope form, the slope intercept form, the standard form. So this is a really convenient feature here, and if you change one of your point values, you immediately have the new solution here. So it's a big time saver. Trigonometry, I'll show you in a second, but just to give you an idea, you can solve the side, side angle problems. We're going to solve a 90-degree triangle in a moment. You can convert polar coordinates to rectangular and back. Use Heron's formula. Everything is available here. So I mean, my voice is fading a little bit. For geometry, there's a 2D and a 3D section. Let's say you look at the sphere solver, put in a radius of your choice like this one, and immediately you will see the surface area of that sphere and the volume here as well. So it automatically, so if you are given a volume of 100, you can immediately find out what the radius is, and if you do want decimals, then your input has to be a decimal number, so your output will be decimal. Okay, 2.87. Statistics, of course, you can find the mean, median, mode, because that often occurs. Geometric and harmonic mean, very typical Mathcounts problems. So let's look at some Mathcounts problems. Let's start off lightly. What is the value of the expression 1 over 5 plus 11 over 15? Well, that we don't type in, that we can do faster in our head. Here in number 5, number 5 is the triangle. So you're given 2 sides and you want to know the area here. So we got to know what the hypotenuse is. So we're going to go into trigonometry. and we're going to select solve any 90-degree triangle, and we are given the sides 8 and 5, and our angle is 90 degrees. So we can see that if we scroll up, we can find all the other sides, or the other side, and the other angles. And when we scroll down, we see that the area of this triangle is 20. So we solve this in about 20 seconds. Okay, so what else can we do here? This can just be typed in, right? If you ever want to do math, a half of a fourth plus of a fourth of 240, you should know you can always go to the option 1, section 1, which is compute and simple arithmetic. So you can type in anything. 2 to the 10. You can also find you could also do modular arithmetic. What's mod 100? Let's say when divided by 6, I will give you 4. Or in this problem here, 1/2 of 1/3 of 1/4 of 240 is 10. Solved. Next question. Okay, so here that's a good example because we are solving an equation like this one. So whenever you solve an equation, you go to menu 1, and then you go to solve an equation. What you must know is that you have to use x as a variable. So even though it says 4n, we have to type in 4x plus 1 is equal to 250. And look at the question saying what is the nearest integer to the value of n. Well, we have a fraction here, but remember, when you enter a decimal, 250 point or 0.0, your answer will come up as a decimal, and you have the nearest integer, which is 62. So if I wouldn't be talking that much, I would have solved that question much easier or faster. So this one can of course also just be typed in. Okay, maybe lastly, number 12, the sum of two numbers is 9, the absolute difference is 3. So that is a good example for a 2 by 2 linear system, right? Nothing gets squared. So we can just say the sum of two numbers. So we're going to use x and y as variables. X plus y is 9. And we know the difference is 3. So x minus y is 3. And we have our answer down here. Solve, we're going to get x is 6 and y is 3. So we can solve a lot of these questions quickly by just typing it into our